All right. Take this big old light out my face. All right. All right, y'all. So, hey, Sharita. How are you? Hey, my sister. Literally, my biological sister is in here. Thank you for the roses, Nasha. I'm not going to act like an NPC in here, so just a heads up, okay? Maybe that'll get the lives going, though. All right. So, all right, y'all. Today, we were supposed to be doing the third... Thank you, my sister. We're supposed to be doing the third love application, but that application's actually closed. Okay, so we're going to do the Nasdaq Foundation application instead. And this is a quarterly grant opportunity that is tied to $75,000. And from what I was reading, it looks like you can actually request more. So, yeah. All right. If you have a really clear goal on how you're going to use that funding, and this grant is a little bit different because they actually ask you to be tied to some kind of charitable organization or charitable cause, right? But do not let that discourage you from applying. And here's why. Excuse me. I think I'm just going to go ahead and like kind of get the ball rolling on this idea now. A lot of grants that are going out, people think, oh, I need to be innovating. I need to be in tech. False, okay? What a lot of grant funders are looking for now are social impact. That's really big for them, okay? So as you're building your business, think about the social impact that you want to have, but then also go ahead and align yourself with an organization that will allow you to enforce that social impact, okay? So what I mean by that is there are, you can just make donations. You can, and I would advise that you look at social impact or Google social impact, learn about social impact, because that's a lot of who these grants are funding now. Someone that can do something called the theories of change, understanding how when you are profitable, it benefits someone else, all right? Especially now that a lot of these big corporations are being accused of messing up the entire world, all right? So now this is how they're trying to help the smaller guy, which is us, kind of mitigate some of that, all right? So with that being said, we're going to do two things. First, we're going to go through the qualifications, and then we're also going to go through the application to see what it is. Hey, Jolena. We're going to go through the application to see what it is that they want to know. I'm going to tell you now, they want a proposal, okay? So if we've been playing, we've been doing this for going on 18 weeks now. Next week will make 18 weeks since we've been on live, all right? I've been telling you guys, this is going to be an asset that you're going to need for higher levels of funding. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before and you've been rocking with me for the last 17 weeks, you know I've said that a lot of times, all right? Because when you're going upwards of $20 to $50 to $75,000, you're not playing with applications anymore. We're past that, okay? We're playing with proposals that are extensive, that are very detailed, and that will allow you to understand, will allow the funder or the person awarding the funds to be able to understand how your business is not only going to be profitable, but sustainable, and you have a plan in place to do that, okay? So Just want to put that out there. Next thing we want to talk about is the fact that, what else do we want to talk about? Okay, we're going to set a live goal for this live. We're going to get to 3K, okay? 3. Nominal, all right? And I'm only setting live. I'm going to set a live goal every day now because I saw Nicki Minaj sitting on live, twiddling her thumbs, and there was 1 million likes in there. All right, we're getting good information that's actually going to make us some money. You can get to 3K. And also, it does help with the algorithm. TikTok rewards you. There's like literally a message on my screen that says more likes can attract viewers. Keep it up. So that's that, right? So they do reward the lives. They keep people coming in. They tell people to come in that it's a safe place to be, all right? Or at least an engaging place to be. All right, so this is what you're going to Google if you want to find the opportunity. And then right now, we're going to treat this as a working session. We're going to go through the requirements. We're going to see what they want, how we can align with them. And then we're going to go through the application. All right, so the first thing it says is quarterly grant program given by Nasdaq. All right, diversify entrepreneurship and empowering investors is their goal. All right. So the Nasdaq Foundation grant program strives to accelerate progress in diversifying entrepreneurship and empowering a more diverse group of investors, and is accepting grant requests for programs that align with our mission. So the first thing you're going to do is find out what their mission is, right? And if you align with them, and if there are any variances, you can talk about where those are, right? Their objective is to empower. So financial knowledge and confidence. They say empowering diverse investors with the financial knowledge and confidence they need to share in the wealth that markets can create. And then the grants will be given in an area to organizations and programs that impact women and underrepresented communities. Okay. In one of the following ways: enhance financial engagement or improve access to knowledge and tools. Okay. So now if your business happens to do 2 of those things, that's great. Hold on a second. Actually, let me put my phone on do not disturb for 1 second. Okay. So then that's what they're doing. They're looking to give money to people who are helping those people. Okay. Now, they're also offering support, right? So grants will be given in the area to organizations and programs that impact women and diverse founders in one or more of the following ways: mentoring and resources and diversified capital markets engagement. Okay. So if you're in any of those 2 spaces, then you're in good money, in good company too. Now, collaborate. It says the foundation will collaborate with organizations. Collaborate is a cute word. I don't know to what extent they're going to be collaborating with the organizations, but we'll see, right? Collaborate with organizations that can help build a deeper data-led understanding where the challenges are greatest, what existing efforts could be amplified, and how the foundation can make new and distinctive contributions. Okay? So that lets me know right off the bat that you need to understand your market. You need to understand your industry, what market you're playing in and what industry you're in right off the bat, because they're relying on you to collaborate with them about how they can better serve. So you have to be knowledgeable, all right? So I'm going to tell you now, if you're just looking to cut a check, I promise you this is not the application for you, all right? If you're looking to make real impact, lasting impact, and you can articulate that, we're going to go through how you can articulate that in the application, but you have to be really knowledgeable about your industry and your market and how even your place in the market to be able to understand how you can collaborate with them to make distinctive contributions, or even understand what you need to do that, right? So what's interesting about this grant application, like I mentioned, for you to be eligible, it says that you have to be designated as a tax-exempt 501c3 according to the Internal Revenue Service Code, or a for-profit business or consultant acting on behalf of a qualified tax-exempt entity. Now, this is why this is important, because remember we talked about social impact before. A lot of the new business models are not just how do I make revenue. A lot of them are how do I make revenue, and am I aligning myself with an organization or nonprofit or some other kind of structure like a B Corp that can have long-term impact that is measurable, okay, that you can quantify and qualify, all right? It says, please note that if the grant is awarded, a representative of the tax-exempt entity must sign the grant agreement. So I don't know how to make this one work for me. So you have until November 10th to find a nonprofit to align with. Get a letter of support from them, and you could even walk them through how to apply for this and form a strategic partnership. That's how we're going to make this work for us. Okay? Because this is going to be a long-standing relationship. This is going to help you in the process of applying for grants across the board. Is it a guarantee? No, I'm not making any promises. However, it is a leveraging tool that will allow you to stand out for sure and will increase your odds significantly because one, you should have a letter of support. We've spoken about this. We've spoken about having letters of support as a function of your assets, right? Your business plan, your pitch deck, not necessarily pitch deck, but a business plan and your proposal. Those should be attached to those assets. Now, when we're looking at it from a long lens, this is something that you should have in your toolkit. That relationship is going to help you build, all right? So this is why I started a community, okay? Because we can tap into each other's networks. Now, we have to be able to prove that this is going to be a good, strong relationship, build out the contracts, build out the agreements. So someone asked in the Instagram live, I have a nonprofit. What's a fair fiscal sponsor fee? Honestly, it depends on the extensive involvement of the relationship. Okay. Good afternoon, Sen. So think about this now. Okay. So it's August to September, October, November, 3 months to build this relationship with a nonprofit that or a tax designated 501c3, like actually recognized 501c3 or tax exempt entity to be able to build out this relationship. All right. This is not for now. This is forever. So understand your place, understand how you can work with each other, understand how you guys can collaborate and strategically form this partnership so that when you apply for grants and you get funded or awarded, they win too. It's a no-brainer for both of you guys, right? Okay. So, that's why I wanted to go through this application because I warned you a long time ago. This is going to come up. Anything over 50,000 easy, they're going to be asking you for some kind of proposal or an extensive application. People are not just giving away money without proof that the money's going to go a long way, right? So I'm not going to drag it. That's that. So you guys understand that now. And I'm telling you, form this relationship now. Find that organization that you can benefit and can benefit you because this will help you in the grant process, all right? So it says there is no set minimum or maximum grant amount, though the average size of a grant made by the foundation is $75,000. So if you need more and you find that your project is going to be more, you can request more, okay? The Nasdaq Foundation leadership team will consider whether the amount requested is commensurate with the project proposed. So that means the amount that you're asking, does it match up and align with what you are proposing the project to be? Now that means that you are going to have projections, you're going to have a financial plan, and they're going to have to add up, right? So for example, whenever you're looking at a financial plan, depending on the organization, some want 0% errors, right? No errors at all. While others will say, they'll leave like a 5% margin of error for how you fill out the funds. And when you look at the funds, do the numbers add up? Do they make sense? That's what they're asking, okay? And then, okay, it says, and appropriate for, so they're going to be looking at whether the cost of the project proposed come up to what they're supposed to, and if it's appropriate for the Nasdaq Foundation's annual grant-making target and charitable purposes. All right, another note is that grant funders have to get off this cash. They have to get rid of it, okay? It makes them look good to be giving away money. And in order to mitigate their tax impact, that's why they're giving away this money. It's not really all charitable and like all altruistic. They get tax incentives for doing this, right? So understand that and move accordingly. Okay. So now, in order to fill out this application, we have to create an account. So I didn't do that yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, so we can walk through it. And it says, and it automatically off the bat says that when you're going to create this account, they want you to create it with an email that is your domain. Okay, so it would say your name or info, whatever, at yourcompanyname.com. We've spoken about this too. Make sure that you have one of those because it just appears more professional and people want to see that. So it says, do we include the fiscal partnership fee within the budget? You could, especially if it is pertinent, you could. But if you don't have to, then don't mention it. Unless it's like a recurring thing. Like if it's an annual recurring cost, yeah, maybe you need to keep this partnership up. But otherwise, I don't see the need for it. I think it might be more necessary to include the taxes that you're going to be taxed on it, or the amount that you're asking for. And also, Alyssa, the girl that we interviewed for the episode that dropped this Monday, she mentioned that as well, right? She reviews these funding applications, and she was mentioning that as well. Okay. So let's see. I don't know. All right. I'm just creating this account so we can do this. Organization name. Okay. All right. All right, so my password was not long enough. Okay. Okay. Now saying my passwords don't match. Come on, man. Okay, great. So now it's sending me an email to activate this account to verify that my email is accurate. And then let's go ahead and do that now. All right. I don't know how to make this work for me either. Yeah, let me give it some more thought and I'll get back to you guys inside the community. You and Sharita. Sharita could make this work. Jolena, I'd have to give a little bit more thought on. So, let's see. So we have an email. All right, it may take a minute. Oops. Oh no, they're talking about please contact support for no. So what I'm gonna do is, I know what I'm gonna do. My bad, y'all. Give me a second. Here we go. If they say something about this password again, I'm gonna scream. Okay. And it's still not working. All right. Let me open this in a different browser. I thought I was gonna sneeze, sorry. All right, did anyone get into the application? Trying for business loans. I've been trying for business loans, no luck. So we are not talking about business loans just yet, but we will soon, because that's actually a more secure form of funding than grants. Well, like private grants anyway, not government necessarily. Okay. I don't know why this is. All right, if this doesn't work now, I don't know what to tell you. We have to use Jolina's screen. All right, so, all right, let's see. Here we go. Activate. All right. All right. So let me see if I can log in now. All right, awesome. So it's asking for you, first it brings you to the welcome page, kind of gives you an overview of the information again. And then it says right out the gate, it says, we recommend that you review the grant guidelines and familiarize yourself with the online application. So let's just take a quick peek at what the guidelines are. All right, so the guidelines say, no way. Did you just close the application? Here we go. All right, so the guidelines say their mission, because remember it says that they're funding people who are aligned with their mission. So one of the things is, it says leverage the foundation's investment in the Nasdaq Entrepreneurial Center alongside new strategic partnerships with organizations that can help build a deeper data-led understanding where the challenges are greatest, what existing efforts could be amplified, and how the foundation can make new and distinctive contributions. They kind of mention that on the front page. So now reimagine investor engagement to equip underrepresented communities with the financial knowledge and tools to share in the wealth that markets create. And then it says area of focus. So they're looking for 2 areas. They're looking for programs designed to empower diverse investors with financial knowledge and confidence. And then they're also looking to fund programs that are designed to support women and underrepresented minority communities with resources they needed to grow and sustain their businesses. Okay. Next, program criteria. Let's look. Yeah, so it's not long. It's like 3 pages. I would say go through it and just kind of understand what they're saying. Yeah, so that you can understand how you can align with it. Sharita, I could see you aligning with it more so from the the learning aspect of it. Especially since you teach about DEI, you could maybe strategically align yourself with an organization that does education, right? Or has an education sector and branch, and you could use your teaching tool as a way for them to teach them how that they can move forward in that DEI space too. So giving them a skill that they can now leverage. Maybe their business is about DEI, right? Or diversity, inclusion, creating an ERG group. Maybe there's some kind of synchronicity there. I would say probably look for an organization that's in education, since you have an educational element to your project or your program. So that could be that. All right. So then it says, we're going to start the application. So first things first, they ask you for your name, right? And then they're going to ask you for your title. I would say give yourself a C-level title if you haven't already. It presents better. I'll say that. And then also when you're doing your executive resume, you can have that down on your executive resume as well. All right. So that's that. Your telephone number should always be your business phone number. If you don't have one, there are places, what's the one? There's UMA that can give you a line for $30 a month, and UMA will give you a 800 number or 888 number. They'll give you a phone line. They have phones that you can purchase. It comes with a fax line as well. All right. And then when they call, it's going to say something like, hello, you've reached for line 1 or line 2 or whatever. So it's like $30 a month. Telephone number. All right. Then email address is, again, going to be the email address that is tied to your business. All right. Next, contact information. They're just verifying that this matches, and then save and proceed. And then now it's asking about your organization's information. So legal name, address is going to be the business address that you use, preferably to sign up or register for your business. Just so there's not any differences in what you put versus what it says on your registration documents. So then it's going to ask you for the state that you live in, the city that you live in, or the city where your business is, business, city, state, and zip code for the business, where the business is. What do you mean by C-level title? Yes, Jolena says CEO, CFO, CMO. So C-level is going to be Chief Financial Officer, Chief Marketing Officer, Chief Executive Officer. So C-level is not going to... Okay, got you, Sharonda. Okay, got you. So C-level is going to be one of the higher executive titles that you can have in a company. And if you're not sure where you kind of fall, because you might not be the CEO, you might find that when you're looking at the applications, you're actually the CFO, because you do more of the financial functions of the business, and someone else, or maybe you contact someone else about the executive. But a lot of us being new owners, we're playing multiple roles. So just look at the C-level ones that fit what you're doing the most, and pick that one, and you can be able to build off that. So it's next asking you to put your website, right? And then we're going to save and proceed. And then now it looks like we're already almost halfway through the application. Okay. Project title. So we've kind of talked about this before. Whenever you're doing these higher levels of funding, They are funding projects, initiatives, and programs, okay? They're not saving dying companies, nothing related to like a dying ship, all right? We do not pour money into things that you cannot prove is going to work or is working. So this is going to be now something that you're doing within your business that's going to move your business forward. And by forward, we mean you're already profitable. You need to create a new department. You're now serving a new segment of your market. You're going to be moving in some way, and you are titling that project company. Let's say the company is Sharonda, right? Sharonda Growth Project, Sharonda Growth Initiative, Sharonda, who knows, right? There's different ways to title it, but if it's asking for a project, name your project. When we created the fake company inside of the 6-figure funding formula training, it was a company called Maya Moon, and it was based on helping Black women being able to see representations of beauty in makeup marketing, like the entire market around beauty. So we called it the Beyond Beauty Initiative, right? Because it's a new project. So just kind of give it a cute, creative name that captures your business. It did not say it's not for startups. It did not say that. This very well may be for startups, but as a startup, you're going to have to be able to give a proposal that explains how you're going to be profitable and your mission and your objectives. It didn't say you had to have a minimum revenue. Nowhere did it say that. Nowhere did it say startups are not accepted. It just says you have to be aligned with a nonprofit in some way. And it says that you have to have some kind of social impact, or the two verticals that they outlined. All right. They didn't say anything about no startups. They didn't say anything about revenue. All right. I want you guys to, this is why, like, when I go through the requirements, I'm really strategic about talking about this, because people will think, because of how these applications are formatted, they start to make assumptions. And I'm not saying that's what happened with you, Bonita, but it happens a lot, right? I don't qualify for this. And they automatically disqualify themselves, and they don't even bother applying. Unless it explicitly says you have to be in business for X amount of time before you can apply, don't disqualify yourself. Unless it explicitly says 50K in revenue in order to be able to apply for this, a minimum of 50K, don't disqualify yourself. How you answer the questions now are going to be very much about you projecting into the future what you plan on doing if you are a startup and you have not done anything yet, right? So I hope you guys understand the kind of like difference between how to approach this if there's no explicit facts about whether, or statements about what you should and should not have. All right, so project title. So project description is going to be a 750 character maximum space for how you are going to describe your project, all right? Who you are, the problem that you're solving, and for whom, okay? The problem that we solve is not the product that we sell. It's mostly going to be the benefit to the end user. So whenever we talk about or we describe something, especially as it relates to our project or business, who you are, right? What you're doing. So we don't sell marketing, we sell visibility, right? The end goal of marketing is to be able to get in front of our consumer. So what you're doing is, that's how you're going to describe it. Don't just say we sell eyelashes, because you don't. You might be enhancing beauty for whoever is going to be, whoever's going to be using your product. All right. The product is the lash. What you do is how the consumer feels, benefits, the impact of the actual outcome from using the product itself. So now our currency is USD, and then there's a space here for the amount that's being requested. So remember, they said that the average is $75,000, but you can ask for more, because especially if you have, because you're going to be submitting a proposal. So especially if you have your projections outlined and your projections surpass $75,000, then you're going to be able to do that then, okay? Just request the amount that you need in funding to be able to move this project forward. Next is the project start date. So this is assuming you haven't started it, right? So it says, unless otherwise specified and agreed upon, all grants are 1-year terms, okay? So they are telling you that if you are going to get this funding, let's say next month, you have to use it within 1 year. So your projections are going to be outlined, like your budget projections are going to be outlined for how you're going to use those funds over the year. So you should have an end date in mind, right? So this application closes on the 10th. It didn't say when. I didn't see it. It might not have said, but I didn't see it. When you would be applying, when they would be awarding the funds. So let's assume it's December because the application closes on the 10th of November, right? So let's say December. So you say maybe the project start date is January 1st of 24 to December of 24. And then that's your, or just January of 25. And that's your 1 year project start date. All right. That's how I would do that. I'm not telling you that's what you have to do, but that's how I would do that if I'm applying for this, right? And then it says, describe your project, how it falls within the missions of the Nasdaq Foundation. So really do go back and align yourself with the missions that they are putting out. If you do, right? You have 2,000 characters to do that. And then they give you a link back to their mission. So you can literally reference point for point what they're saying. This is what our company does. This is what our project is, excuse me, because they're saying describe your project. So this is what our project is. This is how it aligns with this mission. This is what our project is. This is how it aligns with this mission, point for point. I will do that. I will go through every sentence and say Nasdaq Foundation's mission is to, we understand clearly that Nasdaq Foundation's mission is to XYZ. Our company, blank, 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 its mission falls in line with that mission because of this. And this is how we do things that align with the mission. Like our goals are aligned point for point. I mean, if there was 20 points, I'm doing that for every point, as long as it fits within that 2,000 character, as long as it falls within that 2,000 character limit. All right. So primary region, select the primary geographic area served by this request. Okay. The request for funds, of course. Now, it's the drop down says city, global, national, regional, state. So if you have what's called a catchment, which is like a little area that's like a designated area where you can only serve, then that would be like, that would be city, right? If you can attract the entire globe, global. National would just be our country. Regional, well, national could be really our country. Why am I drawing a blank? Because it says regional U.S. only. So maybe a certain region of the U.S. So maybe you only do like the Northeast or something. And then if it's specific to your state, then you would put state. And then it has a drop down of the states. All right. So, all right. What else? Let me actually fill this in with like filler things because I haven't been doing that. And it's required for me to go to the next point. 1 second. Start date. Let's put the project start date at December 1st. That's what I was saying. Project end date. And then we're going to say 2025 of the same year. Same month, I mean. Yeah. All right. So, what else? Describe the intended audience or communities, that is, who will participate in any activities, events, who will benefit from the project. Okay, so now this is when we start to talk about our target market. Now, these people we're not going to write it out where we're saying, we're not going to say this person is 35 to 24 or 35 to 24, 24 to 35. And, you know, they're minority women and they do this and they do that. No, I think you should go back to their mission because they outline two very distinct groups that they want to serve. So your service should be dedicated to, they outline two very distinct groups that they want to, they want to apply for this, right? So when you're talking about who your audience is, think about how they addressed you when they wanted you to be able to apply for them, right? To apply to them. They said minority women, right? They said minority communities. They said women. But then when you're describing this, you want to talk about who will benefit most from your product, right? Because that's what it says on there, who will benefit the most from your project. Think about the person who cannot live without what you have to offer, all right? For example, Sharita has a company that does consulting for an ERG, for corporations to implement ERG programs, okay? So her intended audience would be people that work in HR, and it would be people or individuals who are the executives of these companies who understand the implications of not having these kind of organizations in place. So I just mentioned that this is a driver for them. They understand this. They understand what she has to offer. So this is a key decision maker. So when I'm describing the intended audience, I would say that I'm reaching, my intended audience are key decision makers related to ERG and DEI initiatives within an organization. What type of organization would she be looking to align herself with? What drives this organization? She only has 490 characters, so we gotta keep it cute. But what kind of organizations, what their objectives are, what they want, what's driving them, and if you have space, and you could talk about some of their features. But I would more so talk about what they want, like who's the decision maker, who's going to be the one to push the button on me going ahead and saying, yes, my organization needs a DEI program, and I cannot not have this because of the financial implications, of the turnover implications, right? Will your project serve a particular demographic? If so, which one? So there's just a group, like a group of people you can choose from. So Black, Hispanic, Asian, all those good things. All right, and then we're gonna save and proceed. And then project details, per usual, right? So how do you plan to implement your project? Explain any methods, activities, technology, data, or materials that will be used, all right? Implementation is going to be a function of how you're going to pretty much get this done, okay? Methodology, for methodology, I would definitely, especially as it relates to the organization that you're going to be working with, I would do a theories of change, okay? A theories of change is a framework that allows you to break down how whenever you have an input into your business, there's an output that can be calculated as well, okay? Am I seeing things? Okay, yeah, I am. Okay, so I would do a theories of change because implementation will, that theories of change breaks down how to implement your project, all right? So I would definitely do that. And then also, if you're going to be using any activities could be marketing, it could be outreach, it could be community work, it could be, what else? Marketing. Yeah, pretty much anything that gets your project done. It could be a strategic partnership. Forming strategic partnerships could be your activities. And then also what technology you're going to be using. So I would say something along the lines of the CRMs that you have to put in place, the systems that you have to put in place, if you have to do those things. And they are going to be, there's 4,000 characters for you to explain this in great detail. So don't be shy about explaining how you actually have to get this done from A to B, or A to Z rather, right? Implementation of Sharita's project might look like using a technology or like a CRM that also collects data so that she can have qualitative and quantitative data related to how effective these ERGs are going to be, right? I would outline the technology, create a justification for its use, all right? Especially just understand justification, not saying like this has to be in place, but like when it's in place and when it's implemented, this is how it's going to move our project forward. Does that make sense? Because I feel like I'm just talking at this point. Does that make sense, y'all? Yes, no, maybe. Maybe. Yes. All right. Awesome. So now it says provide a timeline for completing the project, including crucial milestones and deadlines that must be met. All right, so now this is where we're going to have to put our project management hat on. Is there a way you can show your screen? No, there is not, unfortunately. Sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. When we do the feedback Fridays inside of the community, then I can share my screen then, and we kind of walk through some of these applications together there. But that's the only time I can, unfortunately. I'm sorry. All right, so now it says provide a timeline for completing the project, including crucial milestones and deadlines that must be met. So I was saying that we should put our project management hats on and understand, like, from implementation. So one phase is going to be implementation, right? If you're, depending on what you're doing, implementation, review will be another crucial milestone. Testing could be another milestone. What other milestones could there be? It really depends on your project, honestly. I'm just thinking about some of the things that I do, but if you are implementation and finalizing it should be 2 phases right off the bat, right? Because you have to end the project at some point. So implementation is definitely one. What do you need to do to implement? Like, what do you need to do? Do you need to hire people? You need to onboard people? Do you need to get consultants? Do you need to, if it's related to real estate, do you need to like survey the land? Do you need to get someone out to appraise the land? Like, what do you need to do to move it forward, right? So that's going to be implementation. And then once all of those implemented pieces are done, then what's the next thing? All right. So the next phase might be execution. Example. So execution. So you're actually putting the moving parts in place, the things that you implemented in place. You got let's say you got the salesperson's now onboarded. Now you want to create the systems that he's going to use, or the scripts or the calls, the phone lines, the phone systems that he's going to use to be able to do his job. And then the next phase could be or the next milestone could be you actually setting up a time for him to like make 10 calls and see how that goes and refining the system, right? So I'm just giving you an example of how milestones could be kind of etched out. And there's 2,000 characters for that too. 1 second, y'all. All right. All right, I think I know what I need to do. All right, so then the next question is, describe your intended delivery mechanism and marketing efforts for the project. So delivery is going to look different depending on what kind of business that you're offering. Delivery could be in a course. It could be in an incubator. If it's, especially because of who they're looking to serve. So it could be in an incubator. It can be in a course. It could be in a fellowship. It could be, like Sharita, it could be a certification program. So that's how you're going to deliver it. If it is a product that you're delivering, which I'm interested to see, how that would work for this organization, well, this fund, excuse me. But if it is a product, pretty much how are you getting this product into the consumer's hand is the most important thing, right? Marketing efforts for the project. Think of marketing efforts like first of all, what is the best channel for you to market to these people, for you to reach them, right? Because we don't want to talk about marketing to moms and then we're talking about them being on Reddit. Moms probably are not on Reddit, if I had to guess, right? I would probably go to Pinterest, okay? Or Etsy, or where else would moms be? Magazines, those kind of places, if I'm trying to target them, all right? So first and foremost, we're going to talk about the leading marketing efforts that are made in our industry. That's what we have to know and learn. And then talk about some of the things that we're going to do in order to market. Are we email marketing? Are we doing direct marketing? Are we going to do Facebook and Instagram ads? Are we going to like which are like PPC or PPC campaigns? Jesus. Okay. I'm drawing a blank today. All right. So PPC campaigns, right? Maybe Google is the best place depending on like search volume and depending on how competitive that keyword that you're looking for is, right? So think about some of those things. All right. Any questions on that? No questions? Yeah, or getting or like mailers. Remember how you get like those things in the mail? Text messaging. Okay. So, include a list of 3 to 5 short-term measurable objectives used for evaluating your project. So, first of all, I will talk about what evaluation tools you're going to be using, and then talk about how you're going to measure them, right? So we're evaluating for efficacy. For example, if it was Sharita, if you're evaluating for efficacy, then the measurement that you're going to see is if we put in A, do we get B? And is it working how we think, how we've defined efficacy? Okay. So that's why I said you're going to talk about how you're evaluating first, what tools you're going to be using to evaluate. And then you're going to talk about how those tools are used to measure, because it has to work in reverse. Yeah. And we're going to do that for 3 to 5. If you can do more, if you can do the 5, please do it. There's 2,000 characters here. Do the 5 just to be, thorough. It shows that you are being thorough and thoughtful about how you're going to do it. And you can also pull that from your TOC too, because that should be in there. All right. So it also says provide a description of long-term objectives and general goals for the project. So I would say for long-term, it would be like literally what it looks like when the project is done. Right. So your long-term objective is to be able to get 300 people into your incubator during its launch. Right. And then general goals would be refining it, understanding how, like, continuously targeting and retargeting to make sure that you're talking to the right people. And these are examples that I'm giving, right? You could also, one of your long-term objectives could be that you form a new strategic partnership as a function of your business or as an extension of this project. And then general goals could be, making sure that you have 2 or 3 people that you can align with down the pipeline as a function of that strategic, like getting more strategic partnerships. So yeah, sorry. I got distracted by what's going on in the house. All right. Any questions on that? No? All right. So it says describe if and how the project will continue after funding from the Nasdaq Foundation has concluded, right? Because we're not going to use all these funds and then not have money left over. What's the point? So definitely talk about your profits after the fact. When funds are implemented, how you expect to grow after the funds and the project, after the funds have been used, and how you are, what your anticipated return on investment will be when the funds are done, right? So we're building out this project so that we're able to fund a department, a initiative, or a goal that's going to make us more money. So you just have to articulate what that rate of return is going to look like, or not the rate, but the return on investment is going to look like when, okay, I had these funds, I put this in place. This is going to be now my new revenue stream because I have more infrastructure. I'm able to churn out more soap. I'm able to reach more people, whatever, however or whenever that looks like, right? So, or you could say, if it's not that, maybe you want more funding, right? Maybe you're going to continue to seek funding. Maybe you're going to, if this was like maybe a government thing, right? You're going to continue to seek more funding, maybe friends and family. But profit would probably be the best way to do that, if I had to guess. Okay, so now there's a couple of questions about the organization itself that you're going to be partnering with. One second. I need to move this. All right, there we go. All right, so provide background on your organization or institution, including its mission, enrollment, or membership, geographic reach, staffing, and qualifications. I'm going to skip that question because I feel like this one is pretty straightforward. Yeah. Yeah, it pretty much says, please include whether the organization or individuals involved in the project have experience in this subject matter or serving this audience or community. So, it's pretty much just asking about who's involved for the most part. And also, well, okay, maybe we should answer this question. All right, provide background on your organization or institution. So this is going to be for the people that you're aligning with, okay, or that 501c3 that you're working with too. So every nonprofit has a mission, okay? So you should just be able to pull from that easily. Then enrollment is going to be maybe who the people that, you could talk about the number of people that you have, your traction, what your memberships look like, who it's serving, the outcomes that they have, right? Next, geographical reach, how many people you're able to reach, how far your reach will go if you haven't already reached people, all right? Staffing, who are the key individuals? You don't have to put every person, right? But key individuals. So let's say, you're cool, no problem, Catherine. So let's say these are individuals that are, let's say your key people are volunteers, they are managers, and they are some of the executives that are very hands-on. You can just talk about those people, right? And then if you're talking about people who are more high level, it says that they should have subject matter or experience serving the audience. And I will talk about to what capacity, okay? So let's say if I'm filling this out and I'm talking about being someone that teaches about grant funding, I'm going to say my years of experience and my subject and my experience on the subject matter. I can talk about the enrollment of the people in the community, enrollment in the trainings that I've done, geographical reach. I've talked about this all over the world, not just the United States, Canada, and Africa. So I would talk about it that way. And then the qualifications, it's not just me. I'm not the only one that's qualified to do this. We have a financial analyst on our team. We have a CPA on our team. We have a marketing executive on our team. So these are the people that are involved in getting this done, right? What are their qualifications? I'm not a CPA. I'm not the one doing your taxes, but Anna is, right? So I would talk about her years of experience as a certified certified public accountant. Why am I fritzing today? Jesus. All right. So, yeah. Anyway, what else was I saying to y'all? Yes. So talk about the key people that help move this project forward. Staffing is going to be that person. Qualifications, for example, if it's Sharita could talk about her experience in DEI. She could talk about, if it's Jolena, she can talk about her experience with farming, and she could talk about her experience with being able to grow and produce products that are natural and organic. Subject matter, if you know more than the average person about something, you can consider yourself a subject matter expert. Now, make sure that you can also generate the results that come along with that, okay? Slide your receipts across the table, for real. Like, this is a great opportunity just to be like, hey, this is what we do and this is who we are. If applicable, identify any partners that is organizations, institutions, and in some cases, individual who will assist in the execution of the project. So now this is going to be the good time to talk about the partners that you formed relationships with, because I told you that this is the name of the game. It's a relationship game. All right. So when we're talking about this 501c3 or identifying partners that could help us, we're not trying to be everything to everybody. We're not. There are other organizations who do better than we do, that can do better work than we do in some spaces, right? And Chabrene, this is exactly what we're going to talk about today on that interview, girl. This is exactly it. And this is another reason why I wanted to talk to you, because I'm trying to find strategic partnerships too. Shoot. I'm just saying. I'm not preaching this, and I'm not teaching and not practicing is what I'm saying, okay? I am currently actively looking for partnerships that I can align myself with that will allow me to tap into opportunities like this, okay? My partnerships have always been with for-profits, but I noticed that this is a new game now. They want more social impact. So guess what? We pivot, all right? We strategize, we move, we make things shake. So now, that's what I'm going to be talking to Chabrene about, because if, in my opinion, there's no one else better to talk about this with. Chabrene has a nonprofit and a for-profit. So next week when that episode comes out, tap in. That's all I have to say, all right? And we have until November to fill out this application. So if you listen to that episode on Monday and then you implement, you will be better positioned to apply for this grant. That's what I'm saying, all right? If applicable, identify any partners. Okay, so who is going to help you with the execution of this? Because we do not do it by ourselves. So it didn't say that you had to have it in place, because listen to what they're saying, right? Identify any partners, right? So who are the people that can do this? All right? Identify who just look them out, right? So if it was me and I wanted to do a project related to teaching about grant funding, and I'm building out an incubator, for example, I want to partner with investors. I want to partner with people who have money to give away to you guys, so that I'm not always pulling from my profit, right? I want to align myself with people who can mentor you in higher levels of business, right? Past my ability. I want to make sure that the organizations that I identify are people who can move you past where I can get you. That's going to be what your objective is. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, girl. All right. So that's how you have to think about this. You're not an island unto yourself. Who can help you move this forward? So next, if Nasdaq Foundation is not intended to be the sole funder of the project, please describe how other funds have been or will be secured, and identify other committed sponsors. So I'm going to leave that to you guys, because you guys can get that. Explain how your organization or institution sustains itself financially, including other major funders. Up till today, we've been breaking even or being profitable. That's how we sustained ourselves, right? Because we look for funds, or we've gotten grants. So we've actively pursued grants to make sure that we either have reserves, or that our bottom line, our overhead needs are met, or whatever the case may be, right? But we don't have major funders. When they talk about major funders, they're talking about like big bags. We don't have that. We sustain our own businesses with ourselves. So now it says, briefly include any information that will help us better understand your proposed project or program, and what you think makes it unique, timely, effective, exciting, and worthy of funding. Okay. What was the light goal? The light goal was 3K, and we're at 1.6. So, all right. I'm no Nicki Minaj is what y'all trying to tell me. All right. So briefly include any information. So, unique. Oh my gosh, I just had a Beyonce moment in my head. All right. If I were you, I would probably talk about why it's timely. Okay. Because we talked about timeliness yesterday, right? We talked about the example of COVID and the masks, right? So let's say we were pre-pandemic, like let's say we were in January of 2020 and like rumblings there were rumblings about COVID coming down the pipeline, and it's a disease that could globally impact people. That is a timely issue that I would definitely need funding for to be able to get masks and create a greater social impact, right? That would be timeliness of it, because the time was then and masks were very relevant. Effectiveness, Sharita, that's all you, because you can talk about the efficacy of a program and what happens when a program is not effective, right? So I would lean into what information will help you better understand your proposed project. I would really lean into what it looks like when the risk to a company that does not have an ERG program, right? The inherent risk, all of the things that are kind of woven into when DEI isn't considered into a corporation. What makes it exciting? Maybe it's something that's new. Maybe it's something that's different. Maybe it's something, have your areas been affected by bouts of COVID? I'm hearing about more cases. Yeah, it's climbing and it's going back up, and we're about to get back into another pandemic. Guard your minds, okay? So that's all I have to say. So now, briefly include, but, and I'm just going to say this, I don't know how well this is going to age, but where there is disaster, there's opportunity. Just keep your eyes open. I'm sorry for the people that are going to be harmed, hurt, impacted by this, but this presents opportunity to create impact, and people don't understand that. All right? For example, and I know how this is going to sound, but I'm telling you, this is how business works. I'm telling you how business works. The fires in Maui. Sorry to those people. I would not wish that on anybody, on any human, to have to experience that. But guess what? The government, who's responsible for making sure that their country is safe and in good standing, has to issue RFPs to us, people like us, to be able to clean that up. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Charbonnet says, we made so many connections when the pandemic hit. You know why? Because the government cannot do it. They get us to do it. We are the people that do it. Okay? The government cannot go out and do business. We are the businesses that do the business on the government's behalf. So I'm saying all this where you see the COVID rates climbing. Protect yourself, right? Do what you got to do to protect yourself. Protect your family, protect the people in your environment, seize the opportunities, because there's money that's going to be moving around to get these things done. That's all I got to say. All right. Now, exciting. What makes your project exciting? You could be talking about, the fact that it's new, that you've gotten a new approach to how things are done. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can address that, right? And worthy of funding, we're all worthy of funding. And I'm not saying that to be like, just say that to say that. But your project is always worthy of funding because of who it serves and the impact that you make. All right? That is how you know you're worthy of funding, because there is an impact. It's not just about you. Right? That's how a lot of people approach these grant applications, and that is the quickest way to get disqualified. Who are you impacting? How are you impacting them? How are they benefiting by being in your sphere of influence? All right. So with that being said, we proceed to the next questions. There's a conflict of interest statement here about whether please state whether any director, advisory board member, officer, or employee of your organization or any of their family members has a direct, or indirect business relationship with Nasdaq. I'm going to go ahead and say no, because I don't think my family does, but no, there's no conflict. And then next, it's asking you to go to the required documents, right? So there's a section here for IRS determination letter of nonprofit status, all right? So the appreciate you, Jolena. You're funny. So it says you must be a nonprofit organization in order to be eligible for grant funding. So make sure that the nonprofit that you are aligning yourself with, or the one that you're representing, if it's a for-profit, has their IRS determination letter, all right? So that you can just upload that. Boom, boom, done. A copy of your organization's most recent audited financial statements. If you are, you should have this. I'm not going to go into it. A roster of your organization's board or governing body, advisory board, and staff. There should be that too in place, all right? Profile or resumes of key staff members. This kind of came up not too long ago. Sharita actually asked about it, and I still haven't found it, but I think I might need to do another one. And I asked Emma, but I don't think she knows where it is either. To do an executive resume. Let me know if you guys want a training on how to do an executive resume, all right? It's a little bit different from not too different. It's not crazy different, but it's a little bit different from a traditional resume because you're talking more about your traction, what you're able to do, what you're able to accomplish. And by the way, Sharita, your resume was great. About like you as a C-level exec, your impact on the company, your contributions to the company versus you talking about it from a standpoint of like just what you've done for other people or like your experiences, but actually like building out the C-level. And honestly, there's a tool that does it. I would probably change a couple words around, but there's like a tool that costs maybe like $2 to generate the resume. But we'll just look at the different sections and areas of how to build that out. Sharita says, Jolena says yes. And if anyone else wants that training, let me know. All right. Profile of resumes. Okay, so profile of resumes of key staff members. So key staff is going to be the people that are leading this project. And I would build executive resume-like resumes for them too. Okay. A detailed operational budget for the project. You should have that, right? I'm not going to go through an operational budget because that's what the six-figure funding training is for. And it's an extensive training on how to set up those projections and break down the budget. So unfortunately, if you want that, you have to wait for cohort 2. Please also include any items not intended to be directly supported by this grant. So there's that. And then last but not least, like I mentioned, if applicable, support letters from any partners that will assist in the execution of the project. All right. Save and proceed, and then the application is done. Okay. So, any questions? Because I've already gone over time by like 20 minutes. But we can hang out for like another 10. If you want to ask some questions, if you want to hang out, understand something like a key concept a little bit deeper, let me know. Let me know. So my goal for cohort 2 is to be able to open it up in September. I've changed a couple of things in the formatting. If it doesn't happen in September, then the next goal is going to be November, honestly, to be honest with you. Maybe sooner. I don't know. There's just a lot of moving parts that we still have to work out. So, and we're changing up the format of it to produce a lot more value. And cohort 1, if you're here, you're going to get that value too. I'm not giving you anything. I'm not giving someone else anything I'm not giving you. So, executive resume building, streamlining this process, continuing to have these conversations with people who have been funded and fund. So, yeah. Any questions, you guys, before we go? Because a lot of people ask, when is cohort 2? We'll see. I'm not launching it again until I feel like 100%. I've given every single piece of value I can. So that's that. But any other questions before we go? Don't be shy, y'all. I don't bite. Even if you're into that kind of thing, I don't bite. No? Okay. So if not, I'm going to go. Thank you for helping me reach that 3K like goal. And this will be available today. All right. So if you're interested, you'll have 2-3 months to walk through this. So I will see you guys later. Have a good day and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.